I was certain of my world. I had built it with such careful hands, as if erecting walls from fragile glass, each edge polished with prayer and patience. My days were simple: morning ablutions, quiet prayer, caring for my home, short conversations with family. And him, my dog, he was a part of this silence. Not a companion in the usual sense, but a piece of me, the part that sought solitude in a world overwhelmed by noise. I cherished my evenings when the house filled with the scent of hot tea and the subtle fragrance of cleanliness. The shower was more than water for me. It was a place where I left my worries behind, where the voices of the past grew quiet and the fears of the future faded. That day, everything was as it always was, every tiny detail. The warm mist filling the bathroom, droplets sliding down the tiles, the steady breathing of my dog behind the door. I was certain. Behind these thin barriers, my small, unshakable world remained safe. I didn't know that on this day, the familiar routine would turn into a test I wasn't prepared for. A test that would quietly, without warning, redraw the lines of my trust. I will take a short pause. Please write in the comments where you are listening to my story from, and if you have ever experienced something similar in your life. If my thoughts resonate with you, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Now, I will continue. I stood under the warm water when I heard the faint creak of the door. Turning my head, I saw him. My dog stood at the threshold, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. His eyes were calm, full of trust, and it was that trust that cut deeper than any reproach. He took a few steps inside, without hesitation, without realizing that at this moment he was crossing something sacred. Everything inside me recoiled. The water no longer felt warm. It slid down my skin like something foreign, cold. A heavy weight began to rise in my chest, slowly, like a stone pulling me downward. I froze. No scream, no gesture, only an inner cry. Stop, leave. But he didn't understand. He looked at me, as always, with loyalty, unaware of the line he had just crossed. The world around me slowed down. Every droplet hitting the sink sounded like a blow against my heart. It was in that moment I realized, sometimes betrayal does not come with malice, but with ignorance, with the innocent violation of what is sacred to you. And because of that, the pain was even sharper. I felt a crack forming in my soul, thin, almost invisible, but fatally deep. I did not scream. I did not drive him away. I stood there, allowing myself only a slow, deliberate breath, as if that one breath was the last thread keeping me from falling apart. The water continued to stream down my body, as if washing away the last remnants of the certainty I had lived with until this moment. Somewhere deep inside, pain began to spread. It wasn't sharp or screaming. No, it was thick, cold, and inescapable. This feeling had no name, yet I recognized it. It came when those you trust unintentionally hurt you, when something you had guarded with all your heart suddenly became unbearably fragile. My dog stood near me, unaware of what he had crossed. His innocence only deepened the emptiness swelling within me. I slowly closed my eyes, gathering the pieces of myself. Part of me wanted to push him away, to hide my vulnerability, but another part knew pain was no excuse for destruction. I chose silence. In that silence, there was more strength than in any scream. It stood like a wall behind which I shielded my exhausted soul. I understood. Now my test was not about others' actions, but about my own ability to hold together the shattered pieces within me. And as the warm water continued to fall from above, I made a vow to myself I would endure. Later, I realized, it was only the first sign. My dog was not the cause. He was a warning, a messenger of something I refused to see. That innocent moment in the bathroom had been a mirror, reflecting much deeper fractures. At first it was small things, fleeting glances, a phone quickly tucked away, empty excuses, little oddities I tried to ignore. I thought that if I didn't notice, didn't ask, if I pretended everything was fine, my world would remain intact. But it was already breaking. One evening, while tidying his things, a piece of paper fell from his coat pocket. Nothing important, just a receipt, but it bore a woman's name. And then everything became clear. My soul, already fractured by that violation of my boundaries, now shattered completely. The betrayal I feared most had been there all along, hidden behind smiles, behind promises of eternal loyalty, behind words so sincere I had believed them. I crushed the slip of paper in my hand, not knowing what hurt more, the betrayal itself or the fact that I had refused to see the truth for so long. In that moment, I understood. It always begins with small things, with a tiny crack in trust that grows until it destroys everything. And when I looked up and saw him standing there, so familiar yet so foreign, I knew there was no way back. I will take a short pause. Please write in the comments where you are listening to my story from, and if something similar has ever happened in your life. If my story resonates with you, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Now I will continue. I realized that true betrayal always starts small, with a slight, almost invisible touch on the boundary where your faith, your silence, your peace live. At first it seems harmless, a minor shift in the familiar, a shadow barely flickering on the wall. And you think it's nothing, it will pass. But shadows grow. Something foreign quietly entered my soul. I allowed it because I wanted to believe in goodness, in sincerity. But once harmony is broken, it rarely returns. The cracks became wounds, and the wounds, chasms. And at some point, the collapse was inevitable. But I did not fall. I stood amidst my ruins, alone, bearing the weight of all I had lost. And I made a choice. I chose silence. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because sometimes words become hollow. Silence became my armor. It sheltered me where emotions once tore me apart. I allowed myself to live through the pain. I made it my teacher. I gave it a place inside me, not to rule over me, but to remind me everything comes at a price. I will no longer allow anyone to cross the boundaries I paid for with the blood of my heart. My world will no longer be made of glass. It will be made of stone, and within its walls there will be only the silence I choose. Please share your thoughts about this story in the comments. Have you ever experienced something similar when trust was broken unexpectedly? Your words mean a lot to me. I truly value each and every one of you. If you resonate with my stories, feel free to subscribe and leave a like so you won't miss the next compelling chapters. Wishing you a good day and inner strength. If you listened until the end, write in the comments the phrase, "I choose silence,"